These are the things you realize when you move from a console to a PC. Watch till the end to see the one realization about your monitor that makes your old TV look like a piece of junk. Number 1. Your aim assist was carrying you. Let's be real for a second. You spent years on your couch, feet up, thinking you were the next esports prodigy because you were hitting clips in Call of Duty or Fortnite. Now you finally got your high-end PC. You plug in a mouse that costs more than your entire console and suddenly you can't hit a barn door. This is the moment the ego dies. On a console, you aren't actually aiming. You're guiding the crosshair while the aim assist does the heavy lifting. It slows down your sensitivity when you are near a target or literally pulls your crosshair onto the enemy's chest. It's essentially a legal aim hack that makes everyone feel like they have a pro level tracking. But on a PC, it's just you and the sensor. There is no software safety net to catch your shaky hands or your poor timing. Moving a mouse with your entire arm and wrist requires a level of fine motor control that your thumb simply never had to learn. You'll realize that your cracked movement on a controller was just a result of game's code, making you look better than you actually are. You're going to spend the first week on your new gaming PC looking like a literal bot. You'll overflick, undertrack, and probably accidentally hit your Windows key in the middle of a gunfight. This realization is the biggest humble pie you will ever eat because it proves that you weren't actually good. Your hardware was just playing the game for you. If you want to actually get good on PC, you have to strip back the ego, forget your console stats, and start from zero. Number 2. Your old console was a slideshow. You remember that feeling when you first unboxed your console? You thought it was the pinnacle of technology. You played Spider-Man or Halo and said, "Wow, that looks so real and it's so smooth." Brother, you were living in a delusion. The moment you hook up a high-end PC to a 144Hz or a 240Hz monitor, it's like putting on glasses for the first time. You realize that 60 FPS, the gold standard for consoles, is actually a stuttering mess. It's essentially a glorified PowerPoint presentation. When you switch back to look at a console game after playing on a high-end refresh rate on your PC, your brain literally can't process how you ever played like that. It feels like the game is lagging, the motion blur is nauseating, and the delay is everywhere. This is the unseeable reality. On a high-end PC, everything is buttery smooth. When you move your mouse, the screen responds instantly. There is no ghosting, no choppy frames when things get intense, and no dynamic resolution scaling, making the game look like a blurry 720p mess just to keep up. You realize that for years you were playing at a massive disadvantage. You weren't reacting slowly because you are old or bad. You were reacting slowly because your console was feeding your eyes information 3 or 4 times slower than a PC does. It's a complete sensory reawakening. But here's the curse. You can never go back. Your friends will invite you over to play on their PS5 and you will spend the whole time complaining that the game feels like it's running through mud. You have officially spoiled your eyes. And there is no turning back. Number 3. You have to fix everything yourself. On a console, you are pampered. You press a button, the green or blue light comes on, and you're in the lobby. If a game doesn't work, it's the developer's fault, and you just wait for a patch. But the moment you switch to a high-end PC, that safety net is gone. You realize very quickly that you aren't just a gamer anymore. You are the lead technician for your own personal data center. You'll try to launch a game you just spent $70 and instead of a loading screen, you'll get a cryptic error for DirectX or a random crash to desktop. On console, you would just restart. But on PC, you have to open 20 Chrome tabs to go down a Reddit rabbit hole from 3 years ago and learn how to edit your registry files. You realize that everything requires manual labor. Your GPU needs new drivers every 2 weeks. Your Windows wants to update right as you are about to win a 1v1. Your game launchers need an update, and then anti-cheat needs to restart. Then your BIOS settings suddenly reset for no reason. You'll spend more time looking at progress bars and forum posts than you actually looking at the gameplay. Number 4. You can't stop checking your FPS. On a console, you were blissful in your ignorance. You didn't know that what a frame time graph was. And you certainly didn't care if your game was running on 58 or 60 FPS. You just played. But the moment you set up into the world of high-end PC gaming, you realize you have developed a new toxic personality trait. You're now obsessed with the numbers in the corner of your screen. You'll spend the first week with an overlay active, MSI Afterburner or Reva Tuner or the Steam FPS counter, constantly monitoring your performance like a hawk. Instead of looking at the beautiful graphics or focusing on the objective, your eyes are darting to the top left corner every 5 seconds. If you see the number 144, you're happy. If it dips to 138 during an explosion, you start sweating. You'll find yourself pausing the match to check your temperatures, wondering if your GPU is throttling or if your thermal paste was applied wrong. This is the hidden tax of having a high-end PC. Because you spend so much money on the hardware, you feel like you're being cheated if you aren't hitting the maximum possible performance at all times. You realize that you have stopped being a gamer and started being a benchmark tester. You will catch yourself testing settings for 2 hours, running around the same empty map just to see how ultra textures affect your frame 1% lows, and then by the time you have optimized everything, you're too tired to actually play the game. You realize that the more power you have, the more you worry about losing it. It's a mental loop that console players never have to deal with. And honestly, sometimes you miss being the guy who just turned the box on and didn't know what a stutter even feel like. Number 5. Steam sales will drain your wallet. On a console, you're used to being extorted. You pay $70 for a game and then you pay another $10 a month just for the privilege of using your own internet to play it. You thought switching to PC would save you money because online is free. And you were right, technically. But what you didn't realize is that Steam is a psychological trap designed to drain your bank account $5 at a time. When those seasonal sales hit, your brain completely short circuits. You see a game that was $60 now sitting there for $6.99. And even though you have zero interest in playing a medieval goat farming simulator, you buy it anyway because it's a steal. You realize that on PC, you didn't just buy games to play them, you buy games to collect them like a digital trading cards. Your library grows to 300 games, yet you spend every single night playing the same free-to-play shooter you've been playing for 3 years. You realize you have traded a monthly subscription for permanent addiction to deals. You will look at your transaction history and realize you have spent more in 3 months on Steam than you did in 3 years on PlayStation. The free online was the bait, and the 90% off sticker was all the hook. You are now the proud owner of 50 masterpieces that you will literally never install, all while your wallet screams for mercy. Number 6. Multitasking becomes an addiction. On a console, life was simple. You sat down, picked up the controller, and you played the game. That was it. Your brain was locked into one task. But the moment you build a high-end PC, you realize that just gaming isn't enough for your brain anymore. You have been introduced to the drug that is multitasking, and there is no going back. You realize very quickly that a single monitor feels like a prison. You start looking at people with 2 or 3 screens like they're living in the future. And before you know it, you're spent another $300 on a second display. Now instead of focusing on your rank, you have got a ranked match on the main screen, a Discord chat on the left, and a browser with 50 tabs open on the right. You realize you have lost the ability to actually pay attention. You will be in the middle of a high-intensity gunfight, but your eyes wander to the notification or a funny meme your friend just sent. You'll die because you're busy changing a song on Spotify, and you have traded that focused console experience for high-speed setup where your attention spam is being pulled in 4 different directions. You have all the power in the world, but you have realized you have forgotten how to sit down and enjoy a single game. Number 7. Your TV had massive input lag. I told you your old TV would look like a piece of junk once you saw the truth. This is that moment. On console, you were probably playing on a big 4K TV, sitting on a couch thinking you were reacting fast. You realize now that your TV was taking a literal business day to actually show you the frame. The moment you plug into a high-end gaming monitor, you literally understand what input lag actually feels like. There was a massive delay between your brain, your hands, and the pixels on the screen that you just accepted as normal. On a PC, everything is instant. You realize that your slow reaction on consoles weren't because you were losing your touch, it was because your hardware was sabotaging you. Moving from a TV to 1 millisecond response time monitor makes the game feels like it's wired directly into your nervous system. You realize you can never go back to playing on a couch without feeling like you are playing underwater. Number 8. You have to clean it every week. The final reality check is a manual labor you never signed up for. On a console, you let your machine sit in a dusty cabinet for 5 years and it never complained. But on a high-end PC, you realize that your expensive rig is basically just a high-powered vacuum cleaner. You look through the tempered glass side panel and realize that if you don't stay on top of the maintenance, your performance is going to tank. You realize you have become that guy who obsesses over compressed air, microfiber cloths, and the cable management just to keep the airflow decent. If you neglect it, the heat goes up, the fan starts sounding like a jet engine, and your ultimate gaming machine starts thermal throttling like a budget gaming laptop. You have moved from being a relaxed gamer to a full-time system administrator who have to baby their hardware just to keep it from flatlining. So, is the Switch worth it? Definitely it is. The frames and the freedom are unmatched, but you have to be honest with yourself, a lot of that skill you had on console was just a safety net provided by the software. Here is some brotherly advice. Don't let the gear become an obsession. You didn't buy a high-end PC just to stare at an FPS counter all night. Don't let the multitasking kill your focus, and don't let the maintenance become a chore. Take care of your rig, clean those fans, but remember that you are the one playing the game, not your GPU. Accept the learning curve, put in the work to get good on a mouse, and stop making excuses about your settings. The PC is just a tool. How you use it is what defines you. Now, if you wanna know how to clean your PC and what happens when you don't clean your PC, click on this video on the screen and I'll see you in the next one.